Hi and welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing you week 35 of my 2016 project life. And for this one I'm doing a use it as you get it, and I'm using the project life spread from Project Life kit, or Documenter kit from Studio Calico, and this one is March 2017. So I recently picked this one up in their sale. Now what I have found with these kits is that embellishment wise it's quite limited. So the binder clips I'm not going to use on Project Life. Apart from that, you sort of get some stickers, and I think you got some little fabric tag things, and then some post-it notes. So I found there wasn't really a lot of embellishments. So I took that opportunity to try and use up some of the things that I've got floating around in little pots on my desk, which don't really have a home but need using. And a lot of those elements did come, I think, from a Like Forever kit, where we had a pack of die cuts from Simple Stories, I think they were, and the die cuts seemed to last forever. Forever and a day, and I still had a load left. So quite a few of the colourings seem to work well for this kit and for this spread, so I did decide to try and use some of those. Now I will say I was well impressed with one of the cards. It did seem to really suit. So there's a card with a quote saying there's a whole world at your feet, and I did decide to put that next to my nephew swinging on the monkey bars, and therefore his feet weren't touching the floor. I'm quite impressed when things like that happen. It's the small things, but it works. So I decided to pull in, as I say, some of these Simple Stories die cuts, and I did pull in I sort of made a little cluster on this pink card in the middle. I've got some little flowers, I've got a telephone, I've got a binder clip. They just all seem to be colours that sort of worked. At the time I was currently on my computer working on my 2016 Project Life, but who's to know that? It looks like I could be working on something highly and extremely important, so why not? So yeah, I enjoyed stacking those up. I did pull in the little tabs with the gold on the end and the sort of tealy colour, just due to the fact that that colour matched the card next to the picture of my nephew, so I felt that brought the colour in across the spread. It was this bottom card that I seemed to struggle with quite a bit. So I did like the die cut with the word love in the middle. I just felt as though it needed to sit on something, but I couldn't quite work out what. It did look nice on its own, but it didn't go with the way the rest of the spread did. So I did bring in one of the post-it notes thinking that maybe that would work, but it just wasn't quite right. I don't know what it was. As I say, I did mess about with a lot with this layout before I did decide that I liked the way it looked. So what I'm looking for at the minute is I decided to have a look through and see if I could find something maybe in that teal colour or in another colour that would help to make that love arrow pop a little bit and not get so lost, and maybe punch a shape instead. So while I was doing that, I did pull out the scrapbooking kit for the March 2017, which has the same sort of colours, etc., trying to see if there was a paper that would work, and I did have a look at a sheet of cardstock. Now while I didn't find a paper or anything that would work, I did decide to pull out the embellishments that came in that kit that I thought I may use. So I pulled out the little rubber charms and the little circles, and then in the end I decided to go and have a look through the Project Life cards and see if I could find one that would work. So there was a card that just had a strawberry on the top, and then on the back it had a very subtle dot, and I decided to use that. I liked the way that looked, or it looked sat on top of that a lot better. It did get a little bit fade into the background a little bit, didn't really have a defining edge, even though I did use a circle punch with a pink circle. So what I did decide to do was I got out my Distress inks and I just went round the edge of it with a light pink, just to help it pop a little bit and to be seen. And I was a lot happier with the way it looked after that. I also used half a punch up in the top to sort of layer up with the little tag to sort of bring something up there as well. So then going back to the bottom cluster again, I did bring in one of the circled chipboard pieces in a flower, decided that didn't quite look right, decided to bring in the sticker with a flower on, which in my mind when I was doing it looked better, though I do like the circle when I look back at it now. How, you know, I'm bad enough making decisions when I'm actually doing the layout, but to change my mind when I'm watching the video back's even worse. But anyway, I tried to use this donut again because the colours really worked. I just wanted to try and hide it so it didn't look like a donut. And I did quite like it under that circle, but it just wasn't quite doing it for me. So I decided to ditch the donut. And I did decide to put on one of the little wooden pieces that says day to day. So that will be how that cluster will end up. Then I decided I wanted to change the word on the pink heart. So I did have a little strip. I can't even remember what it said, but I know it wasn't really relevant. So I pulled out some Simple Stories little word stickers because I knew they had ones that were cream based, and a few of the die cut embellishments, mainly the flowers, were cream based on the back. So I did feel as though I needed to go down that route. And once I was deciding to do that, I did actually switch the cards around. I felt as though I had too many busy cards next to each other. So I switched my pictures and my cards around, and then I decided, right woman, you need to commit. Get some stuff stuck down. You've got a scrappy day and you don't want to end up at the end of a day of scrapping just doing one layout or maybe two. Sorry, this was my second. The first was really quick. So I gave myself a kick and I decided to start getting sticking. I did use the little rubber bee, which has no relevance to the photo, but I did think it looked really nice. And then I decided to stick down this little cluster that I'd sort of built up of things that didn't really have any relevance, but it looked as though it could have relevance and look nice. So if you're unsure what to do with some die cuts that you've got, just stack them up until they look nice. That's my observation anyway. So finally, I am just going to add a couple of word stickers to this layout. So I'm going to add a Make Things Happen onto the bottom, and then at the top I'm going to add Fun Times. I am just going to trim them down just to make them a little bit slimmer, but they are going to go in those places. And then finally, what feels like an eternity, even though this has been sped up ×4, this layout is going to be done. So all I need to do now is go round each of my cards in a black pen, as I normally see. Look, I've got that much stuff, I can't even move things out the way to be able to go round in a black pen. So anyway, shoved everything out the way, got my black pen out and committed to these cards. So I say I'm just going to go round them now and then I will show you what they look like close up. But thank you for bearing with me. This is a longer video than normal. It's still been sped up as much as normal, it just took me that long. But if you have any questions about anything I have used or any queries, do ask them in the comments below and I will get back to you. I want to take the time to thank all of my subscribers and watchers. I do really appreciate it. I'm going to get scrapping on some more goodies very soon and keep these videos up for you. So thanks for watching and I'll speak to you all again soon.